Women have long struggled with the symptoms linked to menopause, and it hasn't really been talked about much in the open recently. The Food and Drug Administration just announced that hormone replacement therapies will no longer carry that black box label warning. National Certified Menopause Provider Mandy Corvino joins me now to share more about why this is a major step forward for women's health care. So glad we're talking about this out in the open now. Mandy, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me and bringing light to this important issue.
Yeah, for those who may not know, how does hormone replacement therapy help women in menopause?
Sure. So as women go through the menopause transition, they start to lose their hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. You can have a variety of symptoms from hot flashes to night sweats to joint aches, changes in your hair, skin, and nails, ringing in the ears, changes in your skin. There are lots of different symptoms of menopause, and hormone therapy can greatly help with all of them.
Oh, cool. So the warnings came after a 2002 study, though, that found an increased risk of stroke, heart attack, and breast cancer for those who use the hormonal drugs. So, however, there were some issues with that study. They say that it made it unreliable in some ways. Can you explain why that was and what you got out of that research?
Correct. So that study has been debunked, and it's been debunked for a while, but it's finally getting the attention that it needs. The biggest problem with that study was how the information was released to the public. It was released by the media before it was even published research, which is a huge ethical faux pas. So physicians weren't able to interpret the data for themselves. And the biggest risk that everybody really knows about when it comes to hormone therapy is this apparent increased risk for breast cancer. Well, there was never a statistical significance. It never met statistical significance. Therefore, it did not increase the risk of breast cancer. This data was erroneously interpreted, and unfortunately, once the media ran with it, you could not put that genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, I think a lot of women are worried, okay, we don't want to have that increased risk. But talk about when you take some of these hormonal supplements, how it benefits the body. Are there certain ones women should be asking their doctors about?
Sure, there are plenty of benefits of hormone therapy. And believe it or not, after reviewing that Women's Health Initiative, we do know that estrogen can actually decrease your risk of breast cancer. And if you are diagnosed with breast cancer, it actually shows that you will do better stage for stage of diagnosis compared to somebody who is not on hormone therapy. Estrogen is FDA approved for the prevention of osteoporosis. It can decrease your risk of cardiovascular disease. We have many studies showing that. We have studies showing that it can decrease your risk of Alzheimer's dementia. It can help with vasomotor symptoms. It can help with sleep. It can help with anxiety. It can actually decrease your risk of colon cancer as well. There are so many benefits that aren't well known of hormone therapy, but they're finally getting to light today.
And would these be covered by your insurance providers? Given the fact that this black box warning was lifted, does that make any difference?
Yes. So, insurance usually goes by what is covered with FDA approved medications. So most insurances will cover these medications. If not, they're extremely cheap with GoodRx. They're very affordable. They're drugs that have been around for forever. And yes, every woman has access to an FDA approved drug.
Good to know. A lot of women are probably walking around with some symptoms. What would be the first major signs that you need to get to a doctor to start to work some of these out? Maybe you're in perimenopause or you're very close or in menopause.
Sure. So that's a great question. And everybody's symptoms are different. So I would say the first second you start not feeling like yourself, any hot flashes, any disruptions in your sleep, increase in anxiety, even an increase in ADHD. And perimenopause, the number one thing I see is women just don't feel like themselves. Postmenopause, I tend to see more of the hot flashes, but all of these things can be treated. You do not have to wait until you're 1 year without a menstrual cycle to treat these symptoms. And we do have data that show earlier intervention, the better, especially from a cardiovascular standpoint, from a cognitive standpoint, and just from an overall prevention standpoint. We do know that the Women's Health Initiative wasn't a great study for a lot of reasons, but we did get a lot of good information from it as well, and that it can help also prevention of diabetes and other chronic diseases.
All right, Mandy, if women are watching now, where can they find you if they want to see a doctor or consult with you about their symptoms?
Sure. You do not need a referral to come see me. I'm located at Comprehensive Urology Institute. I work alongside Dr. Michael Scolari, who is also board certified in female pelvic health and reconstructive surgery. You can find me at bestlife40.com or cuiohio.com.
All right. Great relief to know that this is moving forward and to have a resource in our backyard. Mandy, thank you so much for joining us right here at 5.
Thank you.